And we're getting closer to the start. And committee boat now has that flag down. Let's watch for that first flag to come up, indicating the starting sequence. Course is X2. Fleet, Semi B is out there right now. And here we go. Flag just came up. Breiana WHITEHEAD of Australia, Leonie MEYER, Germany, Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA of Poland, Alexia FANCELLI, France, Stephanie Bridges, supported and cheered on by our two sons, Guy and Ollie on the beach, and Marina VODISEK of Slovenia in Heat 2, inside of 3 minutes now. And good wind readings now from the boat. Average wind speed 7 knots, so about almost a knot and a half above the minimum, with gusts up to 10. Looking forward to a good race now. Coming down to 2 minutes for race 2 in the semifinals. It'll be interesting to see how the competitors did out there. When you're out for that long, sometimes too much thoughts, too much tactics can be a little bit damaging. Depends on the competitor. They're keyed up, they're ready to go. Don't forget, they had a start. They were off and then called back due to the wind shifts. And so now we have to reset your clock. You've got to refocus and make sure you back in the here and now. Racers have these big clocks on the right-hand side, usually with their upper arms, so they know exactly where the countdown is. And it's a sweet balance between speed and time to zero. A little bit of an art also, because you need to see the boat and then you have a mark on the other side of the line. And while it might be easy from the boat to see where that line is, when you're going about 40 kilometers an hour, making sure you make that line and have it exactly right is key. If you get too close to that and you're over early, you are disqualified, and that would be the race for you. And as I mentioned before, in these two races, there's no error for mistakes. So no throwouts. If you don't have a good race, you might take yourself out. So you've got to sail conservative, maybe take it a little bit easier, go down that line a little bit further, and then just crank upwind and cut up a little bit after the start, just to make sure you stay safe. Inside of 20 seconds now to start number 1 for Fleet B. And you can see the competitors coming up to the starting line, close to the boat. You'll see the kites dropping down a little bit soon. In 10 seconds to the start, we got the first 4 women gaining speed. Close to go now, 3 seconds in, 2, lining up, and off we go. Start for the first race here. Semifinals, Fleet B. Some kites are way below down there, not quite sure that's good tactics. Early shift over, and 3 of the fleet go into the beach on the other side, 4 of them. 2 competitors decided to tack over early, hoping for a shift. And Breiana WHITEHEAD from Australia here, favorite to win. They're tacking over, kites coming up, switching over, and when you see that happen, when they come off a foil, that's not usual. These competitors are really, really good, usually keeping their kites in motion, and a board down like that is not good news. You lose a lot of ground. 2 kites still up and going, and now it's going to be more or less those 2 front kites there. They're going to make a decision and go for that race in the first round here. One more tack over to the windward mark. And that's Breiana WHITEHEAD of Australia, fully powered. But she's followed close. Looking over her shoulder, it's almost about time to attack. Here we go, arm comes up, rotating over, and back to the starboard tack. That's when your right arm's forward, pumping up. And here you see how difficult this is. See when the board's down, when you pump, how much ground you lose, and it's really also hard to keep up on that plane. Light winds up there, and that's really difficult. Back to 7 knots now, though, and both competitors fully planing. Leonie Meyer of Germany still trying to get going, and that's not good. She'll be out of this race. And Leonie actually was leading in this race, but then now is taken out. Downwind, actually a little bit easier. You can pinch up and generate more power if you need to. And I think with Breiana WHITEHEAD and then Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA from Poland, we'll have the 2 racers there. They're going to battle this one out. It'll be up to those 2 to decide who's going to win. And really carefully, you can see when they drive over, they do not want to come off that plane. They want to keep that foil out of the water, because once it's down, it increases your friction. And with this wind speed, really hard to go back up. Very unusual to see them pumping like this, see pumping the foil up and down, trying to generate some pressure. And I'm telling you, that's like sprinting a 100-meter sprint. You just tire out. And it looks like Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA from Poland is the best in doing that. Coming back around the leeward mark, going back upwind. She's got a lead, and she's going to now try to find a little bit more wind on the other side of the course. Yesterday we saw more wind over there. But it also, speaking to competitors, is a little bit holy, so she tacks early, comes around, and wants to make sure she keeps going, and this time a little bit more wind. Good news there. Heading up to her second lap on the windward mark. She's catching a gust now. And when you see her catch a gust, obviously no more pumping, leaning back further and lining herself up to make sure she makes that windward mark. She'll go past it. You can see it right there. She'll keep on going, looking over her shoulder, finding that spot. And when she knows she can make that mark, she'll lift her kite up and come back over. Really key here that she doesn't go too early. She'll probably go a little bit further, coming up on her tack. Coming back over now. Pumping a little bit, and she's good to go. And Magdalena is having a great race. This is probably her type of conditions. Lucky puffs involved in it also. Coming back downwind, she's got a great lead. And this one's just for her to lose about a 25-second lead going into the final mark here. One more jibe, and she's good to go to win that first race in Fleet B. Better conditions now, wind's picked up. You can see her looking down, trying to find her spot where she's going to jibe over as her arms go up. She's coming around, bringing that kite back down. And better wind on the bottom of the course. She's coming around, and now just she has to go straight into the finish line. She sees the boat, staying focused though, making sure that she crosses the finish line. Nothing happening. Yesterday we saw a big little mishap when one of the competitors from Brazil hit a jellyfish, got flown off the board, and all the competitors saw that, so they're focused on that, making sure they can look at the water. And here we go. One kite down over here. She's coming in. And Magdalena is going to take this one home for Poland. And there we go. So let's see who second is. And it's going to be interesting to see how this mixes up the field in the semifinals. Competitors take their points from the qualifications in. And that means if you're the first one up in that fleet, you got a couple bonus points getting into the finals. However, it means that you need to do really well in the two races. Magdalena scored a bullet here. And that'll help her get closer to those finals in the top four. Here's second place finisher. And second place goes to Breiana WHITEHEAD from Australia. She was the leader coming into this, so she loses a point. She loses a point to Magdalena, and it's going to be right down to race 2 to see who in this group gets into the finals. A little bit nerve-wracking with these conditions, where really gusts can make a big difference. Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA from Poland's got a smile on her face, though. She's happy with this race, and she knows really also that she hit the course perfectly, had to work herself through it, pumping the foil, keeping herself on the plane. And I bet you she's exhausted but happy. Big smile there, look at that. Go Team Poland. She knows that she needs another good race, but nice setup for her already. We're going to lead into the second race, and Fleet A making it back out to the starting line for their final race. As the women finish up, Fleet B. So time to go back out to the water. Here come the supporters. Need to really hydrate, get their competitor out of the water, discuss a little bit more tactics, and I'm sure a couple of high fives for Team Polska. And this is what you don't want to see, though. These kites are so light, and getting water on them is not good. Only benefit here is that in Doha, temperature's 35 degrees Celsius. And with the sun in here, it'll take about all of 5 minutes for that to dry. It's like putting a blow dryer onto the kite, creating a nice dry kite and possibly just smoothing it out again. And going into semifinal B, 5 seconds to the start. 3, 2, 1, and off we go. Semi-final B, final race. Alexia FANCELLI of France, Breiana WHITEHEAD, Australia, Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA of Poland, Stephanie Bridge, Great Britain, Leonie Meyer, Germany, and Marina VODISEK of Slovenia in semi-final B. And as we go back upwind, this is going to be better racing now. You can see the boards more in the water, a little bit more spray coming up. Looks like the wind picked up. Great to see this. And competitors heading up to Mark 1. Still tricky conditions here. Tacking over soon to make it to Mark 1. And there's Australian Breiana WHITEHEAD taking the lead. Finding Mark 1. Reports for the windward mark are good. Winds increased a little bit. We see this now as everybody comes back downwind. And jibing over back to the leeward mark. We'll have a close race going here between Breiana WHITEHEAD of Australia, and I think that's Leonie Meyer from Germany. Coming around the leeward mark. And Breiana's leading the race, followed and chased down by Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA of Poland. This is going to be a tight race, and between those two, actually, it's going to be who's going to make it into the finals. Breiana WHITEHEAD of Australia and Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA of Poland. Remember, Magdalena won the first race. She's got a little bit of cushion there, coming back upwind. And Breiana knows that she can make no mistakes now coming back upwind, second time around, if she wants to get in those finals. More power now in the kites, more speed, up to 45 kilometers per hour now in the wind readings on the board speeds coming from those tracking devices. And Breiana's leading, but Magdalena is really close by. It's just right behind her. You can see that shot right now. I guess about a 5-second lead coming up to Mark 2. And now they come back downwind. And downwind, it's hard to catch somebody, so still about a 10-second lead. Jibing over, coming close to the finish line soon here. Breiana WHITEHEAD of Australia, chased down by Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA of Poland. So better winds, kites are lower. And Breiana's looking back here saying, where are you, Magdalena? I need to see you. And Magdalena's saying, I'm right behind you here. You make a mistake and I'm going to take this from you. There we go. Kite goes up one more time. Final jibe. Big focus. Coming around. Magdalena matches that already, right behind her. But it looks like she's not going to be able to catch her in these light winds. Breiana WHITEHEAD of Australia, still about 10 seconds ahead. Coming back down and towards the finish line. Keeping that kite low. Better puffs right now, so it looks pretty good. Magdalena still working that kite. Still 10 seconds behind her. WOYCIECHOWSKA of Poland. Looks like she'll be finishing second. And Breiana WHITEHEAD of Australia comes right through the finish now, winning this race. Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA will finish here in second place. And we'll have to wait for the scores. I think it might even come down to a tiebreaker to see who of these two women will make it into the finals coming up very soon here for the World Beach ANOC Games Qatar 2019. So more racing to come up for the medals here very shortly. Still tough conditions. Wind increased a little bit as it did the last couple of days. So we're all hoping for about 8 to 10 knots for the finals. Making great racing. And there's the thumbs up, big smile now. from Breiana. Actually, Magdalena looking back. Big smiles both ways, saying, wow, we made it through this course. Look at that. Breiana's very happy with what she did. Magdalena, really surprising for me to see how well she did today in these light winds coming in. As they're going to go back to the beach, see who made it into the finals, and then get ready, drink some more water, stretch out a little bit to get going. Thumbs up there. As they both will drop in the water and the helpers come to grab the kites. And big smiles, yeah. All right, we'll get you the scores as soon as possible on semifinal B. Breiana Whitehead coming back in. Great race. And from the unofficial results, looks like Breiana made it into the finals with that Q on the back for the series. Magdalena WOYCIECHOWSKA was second. Leonie MEYER third. Alexia FANCELLI tied for third. Marina VODISEK comes in fifth. And Steph Bridges rounds it out for that semi-final B, race 2. Coming up soon, the finals. And a reminder here, we have 2 people already that are qualified, and the other ladies that made it into the finals will really have to show and score 3 races and 3 wins to win it. Right now, we'll wait a little bit, see how the wind conditions are, have the race committee change the course if necessary, and then come back with the finals